Welcome everybody to the Onward VRML final round robin match of Group B. We are here for Resurgence versus SirenSnails. Resurgence being the home team as they are just above SirenSnails on that leaderboard for North America. It's going to be a great matchup. I am here with Park. We have not casted together, but Park is a newer member of the team here, so we are getting them right into the action with the round robins here and the finals. Park, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, Grenade. We got a great matchup on our hands tonight as we have a rematch from the regular season match only a few weeks ago where SirenSnails did take the W during that match. Resurgence will definitely be looking for revenge. This is one of the matches that will determine who gets past the regionals and makes it to the worldwide qualifiers. So very important playoff match here tonight.
Yeah, and with that, we do have two bans, which is not our usual. If you're first time tuning in here, or you don't tune in very often, normally we do a single ban per team, and then they duke it out on the home team's choice. Home team's choice tonight was Suburbia. However, the bans that we have for tonight from SirenSnails, the away team, is Tanker and Cargo. And Park, what was Resurgence's bans for the night?
Resurgence ended up banning Snow Peak and Downfall, so those are both long-range maps. Seems like they want to keep it to small range, as they have decided to do Suburbia to start the night.
Yeah, we did see Resurgence warming up on Cargo earlier, which was one of the bans, but they at least are a bit more warmed up and ready to go. I did not explicitly see SirenSnails in lobbies, but I'm sure they were also in there warming up as well. We are still loading some team members in from SirenSnails, so we'll be a couple of minutes here. That said, let's do a quick shout out to our sponsors who have been so grateful to contribute to the prize money and hardware here. So we have Pro2 VR with a virtual gun, or the physical gun stock for your virtual VR gun stock needs. VR Cover, who does great high quality hygiene and comfort solutions for popular headsets, kind of like a face cushion for your VR headset. Very, very comfy on that comfy one. I've had that for a little over a year now. Still going strong. Asterion, which gives Asterion offers high quality products ranging from floor mats for perfect active VR gameplays and high quality RGB mounts for your VR headsets. That way you can keep them charged and you can do it in style. Arma, jersey right here. Custom variety of VRML merch. Check out their stores. Some great products there. And I believe we have discount codes for them. They're usually like a 10% discount code in the pre-show and intro screens there. So feel free to check out what they have going on there and see if there's anything you're liking. And then, of course, the VRML. We are not just one league. We are just one league here of several. Blast On, which is a 1v1 cowboy kind of a shooter going off against each other. It's more like a cyber kind of a punkish feel to it, but it's still like that kind of a dueling scenario there. And then we have Pavlov, which is currently in their Season 10 finals as well. And then Echo, I think, is wrapping up their season here shortly in the next couple of weeks. And then we have our Patreon sponsors. Patreon.com/VRML. Thank you for everybody who is contributing to the prize pool and in hardware. So that said, we are still waiting on two from SirenSnails. Our lineup so far for Resurgence is Chowie, God of Shinobi, Faded 918, Rambo 3, and Ree. Your usual suspects over on that side. And then who we're waiting for, we don't know yet still. But E. Hansen, OK on Blue, and Cammy Arion are here. So that said, while we were waiting, kick back, relax, go find some snacks, drinks. I'm gonna have some tea here because I've been sitting in a cold basement all day long working and then popping over here. So I'm a little chilly. I need a little warm tea. I think Park was saying it was a little bit warmer in his environment right now, but
yeah.
I am cold, to say the least.
Yeah, in my room there isn't really good ventilation, so I'm a little bit warm, but it is Canada, so the winter season usually is here by now, but it isn't quite yet, so I'm actually pretty happy about that. Maybe it'll come soon. But as of Resurgence's rosters, we don't quite know SirenSnails. As I say that, they just got a new member in for SirenSnails, so it looks like we're going to be starting up soon. But as of now for Resurgence, it looks like we got our usual suspects. Especially for a playoff game, you expect to see Ree and Chowie, who are, I think, the captains of the team, if I'm not mistaken. You expect to see God and Shinobi, which are one of their top fraggers, and Fade and Rambo are also pretty usual suspects of the team. So they're definitely bringing in a good roster tonight.
Yeah, and we're seeing Okam, who is a team captain, and Cammy, which I believe is a co-captain as well there. I'm not familiar with Nazir, who did join in the last couple of minutes here. Maybe it's somebody new to the roster that I haven't personally faced off against them, because I have not honestly played Onward in a handful of weeks here, except for a couple of times.
So I just looked at their roster to see what's going on, because that's a name I've never seen on SirenSnails. It looks like there was a name change on their team. So formerly known as Lightskin has now changed his name to Nazir. I can tell by the profile picture on the website. So it looks like there's some name changes here. I have seen certain teams that have talked about changing their names even just for the playoffs for whatever reason. I've seen certain players do it. So it is a common thing to see in the playoffs, especially some players changing their names for whatever reason they want to go with.
Interesting. Probably to just keep things a little bit more in the mix and unknown as to who folks exactly are on the roster there. But if you're not changing your profile picture, you can probably figure it out.
Yeah, they probably will. And something to do with intel, because obviously both of these teams need to scout each other. If we look at the Connoisseurs rankings, you actually got the #1 Connoisseur, Goddess Shinobi, on Resurgence's side. Then you got the #3 Connoisseur, Lightskin, who's now Nazir, on the SirenSnails side. So obviously both of these teams know all the teams around the league really well, and their strengths, weaknesses, which is why they're so high up in the VRML and the Connoisseur rankings too. So you definitely have some people on those teams that will be scouting each other. So I'm not sure if a name change will fool anybody, but we'll see.
And what are the stats for Suburbia, since we're starting that off here tonight?
So for Suburbia, we got, if we look at SirenSnails, who did not pick the map, they have a pretty good stat line, Suburbia. They've only played it 4 times, but they've won it 3 times. So that's a pretty good stat line. Then if we go to Resurgence, who picked Suburbia, they have a little bit of a better stat line on it, but not by much. They've only picked it 2 more times, and they've won 4 times. So slightly higher win percentage there. So it seems like both of these teams are pretty confident at SirenSnails. Obviously, Resurgence maybe a little bit more confident. And if I'm not mistaken, in their VRML regular season match we saw that got played a few weeks ago, I don't think Suburbia was one of those maps that were chosen by either team. So maybe Resurgence, who lost, were trying to switch it up and trying to go with a map they think they could maybe win with, since during the regular season matchup they weren't as successful.
Alrighty. Interesting. Well, with that, the last member of SirenSnails has joined. It is War Within. So we should be starting up here in the next minute and a half as the teams are planning in the tent and getting psyched up here. It is the final match for these two teams. Whoever wins this one does progress on to the global finals. Now, if you are new or forgot like I did, we are currently in the last of the round robin here. So if you go to vrmasterleague.com/onward, go to the championship tab, scroll all the way down, there's a bunch of information there. And we are currently in the last round of stage 3, and that's going to go to the world qualifiers. That is going to be the second place team from round robin group A and second place team from round robin group B, which is tonight. And then the EU side is going to do the same thing on their end of the line. And then we go into World Finals, which is supposed to take place this weekend. It's October 22nd and the 29th, it looks like, and November 5th. So, just about every weekend here. I think that is every weekend. Look at the calendar. Yeah, that is every
Yeah, there'll be.
So
Yeah, there's a lot of
here we
weekends
go.
people will be playing.
We are starting off here in the center building. SirenSnails is on the defense. All they gotta do is really sit, wait, block the access in to the building, because this is a very popular one to rush in from the Marsoc side. Let's see how they are doing here. Got a Shinobi and Re and Faded are the first ones off the gate here. Re charging right on in through the hedges. Good looking behind, maybe get a little bit of cover. It's okay, and Blue comes through in the back and trades out with Reed with them a 4v4 now. War within, trying to get anything they can. A little bit of suppression fire to slow down the Resurgence team getting in as close as possible.
Both of the teams here will not have intel on that trade, I don't think, since nobody was near enough to see both of those bodies go down as Chowie takes out Nazir, aka Lightskin.
And this is going to be key because Nazir, or Chowie. Okay, well, they does trade out with a down. Rambo's going to get that in the end here. Chowie was looking to go in the front of the house there. But that end eliminates two people in the front of the house, giving Rambo and Chowie the ability to rotate back in with only one from SirenSnails remaining. E. Hansen is up here defending this as Shinobi and Faded come in from lane 2 behind the house. The problem here is Cammy is still up. They're getting the information out here until Faded at least gets them a little bit more quiet with a bullet to the face. Now the question here is, how are they going to try to approach that? Going out shooting with 4:28 remaining on the clock. And as we were hearing at the end there, adrenaline was pumping.
Yeah, Resurgence members definitely very excited about that round win here, as this match is already going different than how their match went previously. If we look at Resurgence's bans on the night with Downfall and Snow Peak, what's very interesting is those are two maps that were both played during their regular season matchup. So clearly, Resurgence's strategy is to try to possibly avoid exactly what happened during that matchup and ban most maps out. 2 of the 3 maps that were played during that matchup. They're trying to completely shift the momentum here, and with that round win to start, that definitely helps.
Yeah, we do see somebody drop from SirenSnails. Looks like Downpour 11 did swap in, but we still are down one more person, so they are probably going to swap somebody in here in the next minute or so. So Resurgence attacked that a little bit more slowly than I was expecting. They actually kind of like exploded around on the edges of the map, at least on the eastern side of the map, and then tried to rotate it back in between lanes 2 and really the front of the house. I wasn't really expecting that. I was actually expecting more like a 2-3 push, and with 1 or 2 rushing through the door to get in quick. But I think they kind of anticipated the fact that, I mean, it makes sense. You just got to sit on the outside of the house or nearby it. But I don't think SirenSnails were really ready for that rotation.
Yeah, I don't think they were either, as, I mean, with Resurgence, the kind of stereotypical thing to assume is that they're going to be as aggressive as possible. So they did push quite a few through lane 2, but they didn't push as quick. And it was Re getting that trade early on, who was the furthest member out in Resurgence. That kind of halted their offense as well, which made them go a little bit more methodical. And as you saw, 2 of them wrap around lane 4. And then they were very well coordinated, kind of entered the building at the same time as lane 4 got a view onto the building. All SirenSnails members started going down. Very well executed push there. It was a little bit more methodical than maybe expected. I'm not exactly sure what's happening on the SirenSnails side here, as we have 2 drops right now. I wonder if they're trying to like change settings, or if they're all just having technical difficulties at once.
Yeah, I did just get a DM
hopefully
from
we
them.
find out.
So they're fixing recordings. I think they had one headset issue for a recording, so they had to back all the way out, get the recording started, and come back in. So they wanted to make sure everything is done legally and that they're as clean as possible here for this matchup, as all eyes are on every member of every team as we progress towards the global finals. They want to make sure everything is good to go in the accordance to the rules.
Yeah, we already see one SirenSnails member back in here, and it's very good that they're making sure the recordings are set properly. I'm even recording my view as co-caster, making sure we have all eyes on deck as possible to make sure that there's no exploiting, no cheating, making this as fair as possible. So I'm glad SirenSnails are being fair and making sure that the recordings are working properly. Still waiting on one here. Hopefully they come in soon, but no rush at all. So just making sure everything's good with the recordings. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how SirenSnails tries to redeem themselves here on Suburbia, trying to get this Marsoc round win too. I wonder if they're going to go a methodical push, kind of like Resurgence, or if they're just going to go full-blown aggression through the door, like, or the lane 2 door, like we usually see on mid-house. What do you think is going to happen, Grenade?
I've played against SirenSnails a handful of times, both in the League of Season 11 and 12, and played a handful of them out in pubs. I think they're going to try to play this a little bit more methodically. I don't recall, and this could have changed over the course of the season because I haven't played against them in a while. I don't recall a super strong capper on their side. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Doesn't mean it can't happen. Doesn't mean somebody hasn't practiced, as we see people practicing all the time in the cap map. But I don't recall off the top of my head if somebody is super strong on that. So I'm thinking they're gonna try to push out and really maybe hit it from lane 2 and 3, and then maybe go through the carport and to the front door. There are some nice sneaky angles on the front lawn you can grab as well to get up into that staircase, and if you're crouching down real low, just to the left of the barrier outside the front door, you can see somebody peeking around the top of the staircase, tucked in the back there. So that angle might be checked. Obviously, if you're going to rush in through lane 1 or 2 on the western side of the map here, it's going to be somebody watching the top window, and then maybe get a flashbang up and over the hedges to at least ensure anybody nearby the inside windows, both on the inside and out, are at least blind. Might see a smoke 203. Those are very good to get inside the window if you can nail that angle safely. But looks like we finally got Nazir back in here. So a 5-minute timeout should be expiring here in a minute. Should be continuing on with the action. If you're new, welcome. I'm seeing a handful of new subscriptions over the last day or so. Let's see, looking around 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 in the last 24 hours, it looks like. And a handful more even since Sunday. So, if you're here watching, welcome. Thanks for subscribing. Hopefully you enjoy the action here as we are getting into the top of the line teams with the finals. And welcome to our new first-time chatters. I'm seeing Rush X as a first-time chatter. Let's see, who else? Anybody else here that I'm missing? I gotta flip screens around a little bit here. No, not yet. But again, thank you. Oh, we got some SirenSnails fans here. We got a couple of Resurgence fans.
It should be interesting to see who the community favors in this matchup, as the previous regular season matchup, people heavily favored Resurgence to win, which means there could be a lot of Resurgence fans too. But ever since SirenSnails won, obviously it's playoff match, so there's no connoisseur votes. But I wonder what the connoisseurs and everybody else is thinking about who's going to win and also who they're cheering for, as the SirenSnails support seems to be pretty strong in the chat tonight.
And here we go, 3, 2, 1. We got full team push Oh, 4-man push coming out of lane 3 with no pre-fire. Interesting in the fact that nobody pre-fired on the way out. Frag grenade or flashbang up and over does not connect with anybody. As the rest of the Resurgence gets set up, we are going to have 3 inside the house ultimately. And 2 flankers. One aggressively pushing up here on the hedges is Ree. They're here over on the boxes, really looking for anybody crossing in early. And down goes Hansen with a trade out there. Blue's going to cover in on that lane as Hansen goes down. But looks like they're kind of spreading out. They're trying to stay online. And they're really not in a rush yet. They could get in on these hedges and listen in on where footsteps are. Downpour is just barely out of audio range on that, but they are around the corner from Chowie, who could see them. Cammy is also here. Down goes Downpour, and Cammy trades out, but both are downed now, not killed. Is Randall going to confirm this kill? Yeah, there goes the confirmation. So this is now a 2v3, and OKM Blue on lane 1 here is looking for Faded in the corner.
Barely misses those shots as Faded's hiding in the corner there. Blue and Rambo will get very close to each other as Rambo barely misses shots on the Blue. Blue's going to go to the other side of the building where Shinobi will be on the tank. Comes all the way back. Blue is kind of running laps around this entire mid-house here, trying to find a pick, but Resurgence are playing pretty well in the fact that they're pretty tough, but peek out as soon as they walk the other way. Rambo again, barely missing. This is a huge firefight here as Nazir's aka Lightskin has come to kind of support them. Shinobi peeks out of the tank, almost kills Blue.
Yeah, that was just a barely too close of a miss for Blue to really be walking around it here all nice and loud. Shinobi is now out in the open. If OKM Blue did pop out, they could have gotten that kill there, but Faded is looking in the corner of these windows. Blue is in a negative advantage scale here, the fact that they are keeping their body fully open, and down they go. Shinobi finishes off Nazir in the last bit over of the playground. Looking at these kills here, SirenSnails is not doing well in this regards. We've got a couple of dropouts, so those scores aren't necessarily 100% accurate, but Shinobi is currently 4-0, Faded 2-0.
That's exactly what you want to... Sorry.
Now's the point where they're going to start getting into that mental game of, okay, we're down 2 points. We only were going to 4. They are still in capping range here, and we're going into playground. There's a quick spawn on the opposite side, directly across to where we're looking currently right now with our camera. And there's also the not quick spawn, a normal spawn. This could be very, very drastic for SirenSnails if they don't cut this momentum down. They have to get a point on Resurgence here as defending.
We just had a drop on Resurgence side. Got a Shinobi who's 4-0 has dropped out. I wonder if it's more recording stuff or exactly what's happening here, because I don't think it was from lag, as they were kind of in there during the lobby. So it might be more recording stuff that they're trying to get sorted. Might be settings. I'm not exactly quite sure what's happening, but seems like a lot of drops here just to start.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a DM just yet, but it doesn't mean they may not be having tech issues.
They almost started without Shinobi there, but they stopped the clock, luckily. But they probably would round reset it anyways. Yeah, it could just be more getting recording set up, because recordings are a little bit finicky, as when you go in there, sometimes you can't record during certain time, sometimes you have to do it before you come to the game. So they might just be having issues with that, making sure everything is fair as possible, but No DM yet, so we're just going to assume it's a temporary drop, and they should be right back in here, hopefully. But that being said, Resurgence has started off very well. We're 2-0, which is definitely what they wanted on their map pick, Suburbia. It'll be interesting to see if SirenSnails can bring it back. We did see some huge comebacks in the regular season matchup of SirenSnails in certain maps, so it's not like they can't bring it back. Now, because of God and Shinobi dropping, SirenSnails with all 5 members in have time to discuss with each other, kind of calm down a little bit, get their heads collected, and possibly try to mount a comeback here.
Yeah, and we only do have a 5-minute timeout in these round robin sessions, so this is gonna have to be quickly resolved, or this may turn into a 4v5 for a single round, while Shinobi kind of gets everything back in order. Still haven't gotten a DM yet, but we're gonna have to basically assume at this rate that is what's going on. Now
I might ask them.
All right. Now we are moving into the playground, so this is very cappable. If you get a cap and if you are new and you get a cap, you get 2 points instead of killing the team, which is 1. There are a couple of sneaky spots here. You can get behind the hedges and actually reach in without violating the play space rule to get the cap. It is just barely in range there. And then you can get right in on the inside of the H barriers underneath a little bit of smoke, and you can get that cap too. Or you can go all on out and get near the base of the playground and slide. But it doesn't really give you a lot of cover, doesn't give you a lot of concealment. You really have to rely on a lot of those smokes.
I did get word back from Resurgence. They are taking a timeout. So unfortunately for us, this will be a second timeout in the row, where SirenSnails took the first one, Resurgence took the second one. So there is a little bit of waiting we are doing here, but it's okay. We're chilling for now, and hopefully the game could start picking up momentum later on as they just get all their early game issues sorted here.
And with the announcement of later in the year, version 1.9 coming out, they did mention a handful of bug fixes, especially with the audio. So we're going to be looking forward to that and ensuring that it is good to go during the off season, as we are ending on November 5th. That does give them a little bit of time to get more public feedback on some other fixes that need to happen. Maybe something else pops up as usual. One's add a feature, usually break another by accident. Just how coding in large projects works. So maybe 1.9 will offer some new fixes to the audio with the reconnects that we're mentioning. But if you haven't seen that announcement yet, check out their Twitter. It's hashtag Onward the game, or you can go to their website, go to the Discord, see the announcements channel there. They did give a couple of screenshots for what the new tent menus are going to look like. Only, I think only one screenshot for the tent menu, but either way, a decent read, giving a little bit of a hint as to what's coming up next.
We got Steve in the chat. We got Shook TV in the chat. Samurai War Within, who's playing on SirenSnails. Just explained to the viewers that the game is delayed by 6 minutes. In case you are new, the stream is delayed by 6 minutes, since every Onward round is 6 minutes. That way, players can't look at the cast while it's going on to find out locations of other players. So the streams are always delayed by 6 minutes. So everything you're seeing is a little bit delayed, but that's all right. We should be getting back into this soon, as timeout should be expiring soon. God of Shinobi's not back in the lobby, but they should be coming in pretty soon.
And just a reminder, if you grab clips of what's going on here, send them into the VRML clips channel. If you even tag me, that's okay. We can do a round robin and Challenger Cup finals, or Challenger Cup kind of highlights reel, and then so we get into the finals, we'll absolutely be looking at those to get a good little bit of an interesting play out as to what took place, the good moments there. Doesn't have to be 30 seconds to a minute long. We can do a 5-minute clip if we get enough content there, but do provide those clips in the VRML channel, or the VRML clips channel, and yeah, we'll see.
Based on the timeout length, as you said, it is 5 minutes for the timeout. It should be expiring like pretty soon here. Based on the cast 6-minute delay right now, we were still in the lobby, so I would assume that timeout expiration is coming soon, and it is. As they're starting, we have a substitution. Goddess Shinobi's not back in, but they got their guy Playboy Nugget on the Resurgence side, substituting Goddess Shinobi as he still fixes his bugs.
No! Alexa, turn off!
My social security number. Alexa, turn off.
Alexa's joining us tonight, and we have some rounds out Downpour as Rambo does make it across safely. They do take out Downpour, which is a good PKM kill for them. OKM Blue is up in the middle, very, very aggressive here, looking to get anything they can on these hedges, but they may not exactly find what they're expecting here, as the rest of the team has exploded out across the map. Playboy Nug is around the corner, so they can hear these sounds. Chowie also rushing right on in. Rambo around the corner, back to back there. Down goes Nazi. A quick reload click there from Rambo does get them eliminated. Down goes Nug as well. The uplink is entirely open with a 1v2 remaining. Blue needs to realize what is going on here.
Blue collapses to OBJ, realizes, but still checking all angles possible. But that was a pretty good location on OBJ. 2v1. Seems like Resurgence are taking this pretty slow, as we got Ree all the way back in the lane for red card, trying to see if Blue peeks out. Pretty smart, because as the last defender, you're pretty antsy usually. We got faded a little bit more pushed in near lane 2 as Blue fires out some shots. I don't think that was aimed at anybody, though.
No, I was just checking to see if those hedges were clear. Oh, it's straight out in the end of it all. Resurgence with another drop. Did Playboy Nug sub for 1 round?
Seems like it, as it kind of makes sense, because Goddess Shinobi was their top fragger in the first 2 rounds with 4-0. So obviously they wanted Shinobi to play, but they were having tech issues. If he went out immediately, that probably means Goddess Shinobi is ready to go. At least that's what I'm hoping, as I don't think they can just take another timeout. And Goddess Shinobi is in.
Alright, well, here's map number 1 points for Resurgence. Are they going to be able to do this defense effectively here and take map number 1 as a 4-0? That would be a big, big win for them, and a big morale hit to SirenSnails. You gotta remember, this is still a very big mental game. You can't get yourself distracted or discouraged with the fact that you are down by 3. 0-3 comebacks are very common. The question is, how is SirenSnails going to counter this momentum? They did very well with putting Blue in the middle and aggressive. They had a good clean line to cut the map in half, but it just ultimately wasn't enough with the trade out in the end.
We are starting here, so SirenSnails, like you said, will try to counter this momentum. This is quite shocking to see so far. As we saw in the regular season matchup, SirenSnails, I think, wins Subway, which is one of Resurgence's best maps. So Obviously, things have not started off like SirenSnails would want, but that being said, a map is not over until it's over, as SirenSnails do sound pretty pumped. They're getting ready to go for this OBJ. They do get the north spawn, so they won't get quick. No pre-fires come out here as of yet. As I say that, they do start pre-firing.
And down goes one from SirenSnails. This is not looking good to start the round off. Those shots from Cammy at least tell everybody on Resurgence where they are, and that gives them the position to readjust their spots. As Rambo does get another one. It's now a 5v3, and Downpour at least takes out Chowie as a refrag, kind of a momentum there, but Shinobi's around the corner looking for anything with Downpour going around the side of the wall here, with Nazir behind them. A frag grenade up and over would have at least gotten Shinobi out of the way, and the refrag does come out. Nazir with a good quick pop around, but now we've got the problem of Cammy and Naz not really moving from their original positions as it started off. Flashbang does make it to the wall, but not effective. Ree gets the intel on where Cammy is. Are they going to go around is the question. No, they're not. They're going to sit and wait it out.
This is an aggressive Valk round here from Resurgence, as they do know pretty well where they are. So they're all kind of centering or trying to corner them, which does make sense, but it does leave, if a little flank goes out, the OBJ could be left wide open. That being said, Rambo is pretty close to it, but isn't quite looking at it, as they are trying to corner in the last two SirenSnails members. They obviously have pretty good intel, as Reed does opt to move to middle house instead of being right next to Nazir.
Yeah, and here's where you gotta get kind of a bit more communication between SirenSnails and figure out where you're going to go and how to attack this, because you really haven't progressed. You lost map terrain, ultimately. Cammy's trying to come around from the back, but Nazir is still holding strong in the middle in two, and down goes Cammy, making this a 1v4 with a 3-0 lead for Resurgence. This is not looking good for SirenSnails.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good for them, as Nazir is the last one up. We have seen Nazir, aka Lightskin, clutch up rounds before, come very close to doing so. He is a very good player on their team, but that being said, this is a very tough task. But if he's able to open up a hole inside of OBJ, Ree is all the way on Volkhouse. So even though it's looking very grim for SirenSnails, there could be a huge cap opportunity here if Lightskin, aka Nazir, pulls this off correctly.
And Ree being in that back house really gives them a strength in visibility. And the fact that they can see all the way back here where Nazir is going. They can see all the way in where we are presumably going to be going here on lane 1. Oh, we did have a laser from Rambo come this way as well.
Nazir slowly pushing up, taking this very carefully, even though there's only 2.5 minutes left on Suburbia. That is quite more time than it is on other maps like Downfall, because, I mean, it's a lot shorter terrain. Ree did fire out a bullet, which gave Nazir some info. Their laser was right on Ree, but wasn't able to see them, as Ree is in between the wall there, not really peeking out of the window. Nazir checking a lot of angles, but not finding anybody yet, unfortunately, as Nazir does decide to go a different route, it looks like, or at least scavenge some loot off his dead team's body.
Yeah, 1 minute 45 seconds remaining. There's a decent amount of time for Suburbia, but they've got to be careful. They really haven't crossed the midway part of this map yet, as Faded does come back out. I don't think Nazir is feeling confident right here, right now, in how this is kind of turned out, and I think they're really just trying to figure out what they're going to do. But the indecisiveness is really just clocking, ticking away on the clock here for their movement. They have 1 minute 15 remaining. They either have to go for the cap, or they have to eliminate all 3 members of Resurgence to keep this going. And
Resurgence.
there goes Rambo. 1 minute remaining. There's two left here. Faded is looking this direction. But they've also should notice Cammy's body. Two folks from the SirenSnails. Faded still holding strong on that angle. Gets the last kill and win it with the 4-0. Look at the kill counts here. We had a handful of drops as we saw earlier. Faded 6-0. Clearly strong player on Suburbia.
Seems like all Resurgence players are very strong on this map as they all combined kills together and they were able to do very well. SirenSnails, they looked okay in certain rounds, but it definitely didn't go like planned. I'm not even sure. It's possible they did not expect Suburbia to get picked, as it's one of the mid-tier maps stat-wise for both teams. Neither team really excels at it based on the stat lines. They win majority of maps, but they don't really pick it often. So maybe this is something SirenSnails did not expect. But now it's SirenSnails map pick super important here, as if they want to stay in contention for making it to the global qualifiers, they're going to have to win this map pick right here.
Yeah. And with Cargo and Tanker off the books from SirenSnails, they're probably going to look for maybe a Bazaar or another mid-range map here. I would be surprised, though, if we went to Abandoned, simply because of the fact that Resurgence had banned Snow Peak and Downfall. That does leave Abandoned open. Abandoned is a very, very complex map. I don't know if SirenSnails feels comfy on that. Based on the stats, though, where are you thinking we're gonna go?
Based on the stats, Abandoned is a map that, well, SirenSnails, it's hard to really kind of decipher the stat line because they did so many challenges this year. So they played, for example, Subway 25 times. So Abandoned, they played Abandoned 8 times, which sounds like a lot for most teams, but for them, it's their 5th most played map, which isn't as high as you would think based on that stat line, but they won it 6 times. So that's definitely something they could consider. Bazaar is a map they're definitely a little more comfortable with. As you said, that could be a possible map pick. 15-9. Maybe not as good of a win rate as Abandoned, but they clearly like the map more as they picked it a lot. And then Quarantine, unless that's banned, that could be another option too, as they have played that 10 times, won 7. Pretty good stat line. And based on how Suburbia went, I don't think they're going to want to pick a short map. And there isn't really many available on the board with Tanker and Cargo both being banned. So I think for the rest of the night, we're going to see some pretty medium or most likely long-range action here, especially with the SirenSnails map pick.
All right, I did just get word from the teams that we are doing a rehost as allowed per the rules with the round robin. So we'll be right back in here in a moment. We are going to Subway. Still popping back in. We're starting off in the south street here, south intersection. This could turn very interesting for both sides. And I did just get word here. SirenSnails took bulk advantage. So, the Resurgence crew had chosen Subway, which is a little interesting considering we were just going over the stats and that this is their biggest played map of the season.
So if they have Valk, does that mean Resurgence picked Marsoc advantage?
It does. Marsoc was chosen.
That
Well, Marsoc was defaulted. I'm sorry. They chose home. They chose map because they're now playing the role of home, air quotes, where they pick the map at that point, and they're typically defaulting to Marsoc. So SirenSnails said, hey, we want to play Bulk, doesn't matter where you go. So Resurgence had said, okay, we're going to play Subway, and they're going to be on Marsoc.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Not many teams do this, but a handful do based on what they feel a little bit more confident on for the season stats. Like my team had done this once or twice throughout the year because during our research of the team, we felt that we had a bit better defense, and we kind of guessed between 2 or 3 maps as to where they were going to go for the map pick. And that may have been the case here, but Resurgence being number 1 in NA right now, and in the world, I don't know if that can be assumed here. Subway,
Yeah, it was an interesting choice for sure.
Yes.
Because
So, go ahead. Subway is popular. Well,
Yep.
I'm interested.
so it's very popular for SirenSnails and Resurgence. They both play this map a lot, which makes both of these teams very confident at it. So what I'm thinking is, because I've never really seen this done before in a match, it's possible, but it doesn't happen often. So I think SirenSnails narrowed it down, like you said, to what they could pick, and they realized they would probably end up picking Subway, which SirenSnails were able to beat Resurgence on in the previous match. So I think they were pretty confident that they would go with this map pick here, and they could take bulk advantage, get an even bigger advantage. So based on which map we ended up on, because of all the bans, I think this was actually a pretty smart decision from SirenSnails here.
I am seeing 2 C4s come out. Early shots out from Chawi as they are wrapping around off of the eastern staircase. Rambo and Reed now coming in on the west stairway. Down goes Chawi and Rambo to downpour and Blue. This does give SirenSnails a good bit of an edge to start off, as the rest of the team is still coming down through Chinatown. Down goes Downpour. Cammy is there to back them up, and I think they did tap Faded in the end. After losing one, they are going to pull back in the alley, kind of leaving them a little bit more in a defensible position, in my opinion here, as SirenSnails doesn't really have to move very much, but if they got the word out as to where they were coming from and how many, they might be able to shuffle this up and have Blue come up from behind.
Yeah, they might be able to, and it could be a potential strategy they do here, especially if they have knowledge that they're all in China challenge, kind of just waiting. That very good defense to start with SirenSnails definitely halted Resurgence's push, so they're kind of all just stuck in Chinatown right now. If they get intel about that, Blue could definitely go wrap around and potentially flank and get a lot of kills, but Ree is starting to move out, confirming those bodies. They might feel a little bit more confident now to push up, but SirenSnails definitely starting off with a little bit of an edge here.
Yeah, and Reed did pick up a friendly gun that does have a Mark 18 with the 203 smoke launcher on here. The HEs are not allowed on Subway. It is not a large map.
He might be on the other side of that fucking...
They are not being very quiet, but they are at least pushing together, and they do have the rear coverage from Shinobi. I don't think they really have to worry about this based on how we've seen just SirenSnails sit down. But it's always good to have. Flashbang out from Cammy doesn't connect because they're too far away. They're just being a little bit cautious there. We still haven't seen where these C4s are. nicely placed smoke to protect against that particular spot. Not being utilized right now, so it is, I don't want to call it wasted, but it is just a little bit more off key there. These additional smokes not reaching as far out as they exactly wanted as well, because of the fact they're basically overlapping with the 203 smoke. Faded is looking for that C4, which we still haven't seen yet. I don't think we've identified it just yet, but Cammy is looking this way. The peek out does give away the fact that they are watching this angle, while we do have the other two coming down the eastern staircase.
Dangerous.
Seems like they've kind of abandoned the previous push as they just left Faded on there. As I say that, they send Re back up there. They smokes. They sent like an M203 and 2 smokes down. They're definitely completely wasted there as they fade out, and they weren't where they wanted as Cammy gets that kill onto Faded. I'm not sure if they'll expect Re to be crawling here looking for that angle, but right now Re's just waiting for the opportunity to push out. Blue does seem to be going on a little bit of a flank right now. Could potentially get in contact with Shinobi and Re here, but Blue kind of just holds, waiting for one of them to rotate back, as Shinobi will head more towards that way. Re still laying here, waiting for the perfect opportunity to peek.
There's the peek, and it is good. Hansen's going to have to pick up and move now. Is the question that Re is going to be watching this angle as they come around the corner, and is Nazir going to actually... Yeah, Nazir is going to be collapsing back in as well. Blue should be moving as the fact that they are getting cut down. Down goes Shinobi. Re now has to watch their back and understand the fact that there is a threat back here. Pulling off. Blue is not prepared for this. And Blue ducks out of the way just in time. SirenSnails have cut the momentum for a round at least, with Blue picking up 3-0.
Huge performance from Blue there, as we saw that flank completely pay off, and with that last kill, that was like a Matrix moment there, ducking down, dodging all the bullets, kind of like drop shotting there. Very impressive movement from Blue that was able to get him and his team the round win, which, I mean, this bulk round pick from SirenSnails is looking like it's paying off so far on Resurgence's second map pick, Subway.
Yeah, and as you're saying, SirenSnails are not strangers to this, nor are Resurgence, but SirenSnails did play it 25 times, so we're expecting some good plays. We're expecting some map familiarity. We're expecting the fact that they have solid strategies, and the fact that they played it so much, and they kind of know just what works against a common set of teams at that master level. Both of these teams have put in many hours over the course of the season between matches that come up, scrims, and challenges. So this is going to be interesting in how Resurgence kind of counteracts that, or I guess even plays aggressively in the fact that they're on bulk now. I'm wondering if we're going to see a couple of C4 tricks come out in a similar fashion to how we saw the other week with the C4 being placed under a tablet. I wonder if we're going to get it to be in like a very obscure spot, or if that can be replicated.
It's a blood flow.
In the...
Absolutely loving to dump the pistol ammo. We do have this flashbang being handed out. Looks like Chowie might be doing a rush around corner here, and Shinobi does have that C4 as well. They do have quick spawn. C4 goes up and over on the ledge there.
Wow.
Smoke grenade failed, and the entire SirenSnails team is laughing about it as one of their members goes down. Huge west push here, but Rambo gets a pick onto Cammy. Flashes going out as they know there are quite a few near Chinatown, possibly pushing out this west alley, but SirenSnails staying tucked, not necessarily pushing down it. It is a 2v5 now as Chowie gets a kill, pushing down near Chinatown.
Yeah, and we're in a kind of a similar situation here where Chinatown is this little bit of a holding point for the teams because nobody has sent anybody underground yet. Nazir is going to be pushing out here into Rambo's line of fire, and as I say that, Hansen takes a shot at it first, and Nazir is now in a 1v5 scenario. Make that a 1v4 as Chowie does come around the corner. Doesn't get the connection there, but Nazir is entirely pinned. Oh! And as we were going out with a bang, Chowie gets the kill from behind, but they don't go down without a fight. So there's that aggression we were talking about from Resurgence. There was the aggression we were expecting on Suburbia. But this time, they were like, you want to play this game, you want to sit and stay, we're going to charge at you because we know where exactly you spawn and where we can counter you. All you have to do is get the early intel on the south platform, that they aren't down there. All over, everybody's charging up on top.
Yeah, that's some impressive play there from them, because on this map, we've seen it in previous matches too. It seems like they're more aggressive on Vault than they almost are in Resurgence, as they try to, or on Marsoc, they try to do like a methodical push on Marsoc, but then on Vault, they try to like use their intel, pin members, and usually when there's one person up and there's 5, the common rule is to stay tucked, don't move, just kind of watch OBJ, they'll eventually come into your line, but Resurgence took a completely opposite approach to that kind of meta and try to pin them down, and clearly it worked there. So yeah, very aggressive play from Resurgence. I think that aggression could potentially win them a lot more rounds than we possibly saw them won in the previous match against these two teams.
Yeah, and they realized that as they were cutting them down, they had the player advantage and they could easily pick back up a full swing and really throw them off as they were kind of stuck in Chinatown again, in which there's many great areas to defend. It is an uplink location, but if you're on Marsoc, you're not expecting to have to defend it.
They spawn upstairs.
With that, we still have 2 C4s going out. Downpour did place it up above on the south stairway. And we have 2 going down into Red Room here. Oh, as another C4 gets pulled out on the barrels. And Cammy's holding a long angle here. Little peeky, his shoulder is exposed. There's a quick glimpse of Shinobi's head, but they did have a late reaction there. Chowie is around the corner. Come here, player. Down goes Cammy, but Barrels was called out. Down goes Chowie. Now Shinobi and Faded can easily wrap around and take Nazir out.
It's clear to me how SirenSnails are playing defense. It seems like they have some sort of intel that Resurgence were going to go on a stealth-heavy push and a tunnel-heavy push based on how they defended. I've never seen SirenSnails do this defense before. I feel like they particularly planned this for this OBJ, as Subway is one of the maps they played Resurgence against recently. They must have knew they'd go on a push like this, as Nazir gets a kill on Shinobi, but gets refragged instantly from Faded. It is now a 3v3.
And the problem here is we don't know where that C4 clacker is. We don't know. Here's one. This is the one that Cammy put down, so that is not going to be effective anymore. Blue does come around from the south stairway with a nice wide flank here.
Hi, Rambo.
You can see her Rambo from downstairs as Blue gives him a shout out. It's a 2v3 now, with Downpour now going to be facing off with a very common spot. And a drop shot off the platform does get one in. There he goes and clutches it with Faded going down. A full 5-person push going through the Red Room. That did not go as a Resurgence expected. No C4s need to be used there.
Wow, SirenSnails definitely had a plan and they executed it on that defense. It was looking a little bit iffy when they sent a lot of people down that red room, and especially when it was a 3v3, but then Resurgence, they had a few members more upstairs, but they decided to send the last two down to the tunnels, which I think was a huge mistake, but they might have been planning around with SirenSnails on defense last time in this OBJ, but clearly they changed their plan since. That seemed very specific to Resurgence, since, as you said, it was a 5-man push down the tunnel. It seems like SirenSnails knew that was going to happen and planned for it, which I think is the reason why they were able to win that round. And of course, those amazing kills at the end there by Downpour.
Yeah, Ree was on the platform entrance. It was a 4-person push, but Blue did come around with a flank. It looked like Ree was trying to be the distraction person to get on the south stairway, while the rest of them tried to go through Red Room, and that, quite frankly, a 4-person push, it can work. It's close quarters. Anything can happen, especially with C4s being the most popular thing to explode on Subway. But either way, you're absolutely right. There were amazing shots coming out from Downpour in the last few seconds. So the drop shot off the platform that we saw here, grabbing that snap onto the door frame, knowing exactly where that person was and where they needed to look. It looked like they had practiced that before.
It definitely looked like that, and now it will be Resurgence on Volk. The SirenSnails' choice to not pick a map and pick their side on Volk. I mean, it's only been Volk round so far on this map, so it seems like SirenSnails maybe knew that Resurgence would possibly pick this map, and it would be mostly Volk wins, as we've seen all Volk wins so far. Let's see if SirenSnails can change that and get the first Marsoc win on Subway.
I only saw one C4 out this time. I didn't see where it was placed because we were following Chowie, who is charging up on the south platform, getting onto the tracks here. They are set up, and I think they are safe sound-wise. Blue and Downpour taking the catwalks. Now here's the thing. Radio clicks from Chowie can indicate that somebody is over here. And they could get a surprise shot onto Blue or Downpour, depending on which way they're going. They are being relatively exposed as they are looking around on the platform, but the rest of the team really isn't in this angle set in particular. Early shots out from Shinobi.
How the fuck is he jiggling me like that?
Looking for Downpour.
Yeah, there's one horseshoe.
Wow. Call it out for no more. Stay focused. I'm about to sit down.
More shots coming out from Downpour, going back and forth in that horseshoe area, trying to get Shinobi. I mean, they keep coming back and forth. At this point, it's just going to be who shoots at, like, the luckiest time. If I was one of them, I'd just stay tucked at this point, because it's just based on timing when they peak, and they're both not peaking too often, so it seems pretty dangerous. Downpour does decide to go a different route on the horseshoe, but they still have Chowie to deal with if they decide to go down the south side of the horseshoe stairs.
Yeah, I think they realize that south may not be the most clear route, but they also understand that Shinobi was over here. The problem is now Shinobi is rotated back, so while they are not going to encounter anybody anymore, they are not being very quiet as well. But they kind of understand as well that since Downpour was shooting, they're kind of compromised right now in position. Let's pop over to Cammy real quick here. Oh, as Blue does come around the corner. Looks like we got some action in the red room. Chowie does get Blue. Downpour now aware of where they are positionally. Cammy is fighting their way to the door. Does go down to Ree with a TAR-21. That means they had that C4 out over here. Nazir also looking away. A frag grenade, ineffective, not going to hit Ree. But Nazir does get up and closer. Unfortunately, not going to work out not well for them. And now it is a 2v5 with Hansen now looking for Chowie as they trade out.
I traded with one. I traded with one. At 2 down, I got 2 kills.
I
One
got
guy,
kills as
2
well.
guys are in the R shoe.
Cowie giving call-outs about what's going on here. If they do decide to send one right for the revive because they think it's safe, that could be a mistake. As I say that, there's no revive. Downpour gets a confirm as I heard all that valuable info being relayed to the Resurgence team. Another clutch opportunity from SirenSnails on Marsoc. They haven't been able to pull off any tonight, which makes sense. I mean, 1v4s and 1v5s are practically impossible. But of course, Downpour is going to try their best. And as we saw, Downpour had some amazing kills just a round ago and already have a few in this round. So we'll see what Downpour can do here in this 1v4.
And I think we heard footsteps from Ree. If we heard them, Downpour may have heard them as well. While we do have a 1v4 scenario, Resurgence is doing the safest thing of just sitting and staying, letting Downpour come to them. They have a minute 45 seconds to actually get in on the uplink or eliminate the rest of the team. But I mean, look at this defense here. Let's head back on down to the basement. This defense really has the north locked down. And Ree is on the opposite side of the wall, shooting lefty. So of course I'd say that they come around from the vending machines. But
I'm over here.
we have a minute and 15 remaining as Downpour is trying to psych out Shinobi, at least acknowledge the fact that they hear where they are. And the defense has shifted around a little bit.
Ree getting aggressive, pushing up those stairs, trying to look for Downpour. I'm not exactly sure if that's a great strategy within 50 seconds, but I could be wrong, obviously, as Ree's laser does look pretty solid here. Might possibly catch Downpour out. But that being said, Ree moves up and Downpour gets the pick, getting him basically a free kill. Let's see if Downpour is able to get this 1v3. It's a little bit easier, but that being said, 30 seconds. It's going to be very difficult to pull this off as Downpour does go down the stairs. There will be Rambo looking for them as they're all in the north section of the side. C4 goes off and gets Downpour.
And the lasers were just dialed in on their position. They knew exactly where Downpour was after that kill, which, while Ree did go out and around, it does give them that intel because they had the numbers. They had the numbers to play that a little bit more dangerously and give away the fact that Downpour only had 25 seconds remaining. He's either coming down the stairway from north or south, or they're gonna find exactly where he was through a kill. So we're moving now to Chinatown. And both teams are in capping range. We're just trading both rounds here, as you said earlier. So yeah, I'm expecting another kind of a Volk trade, but at least this one is going to be an interesting push opportunity from two sides to ensure that you're really breaking through this wall and in both archways, honestly, and then getting into the uplink as best as possible.
I mean, we could see a very interesting push from Resurgence. If they look at the trend of the, not game, but the map so far, it's been all Volk round trades, as you just mentioned. So what I think Resurgence might do, especially since I think, if not all, but most members on their team are very capable cappers. So what that means is when they're trading Volk rounds, and because of what the SirenSnails decided to do and take Volk advantage instead of choosing the map, they might have to go for the cap here if they don't feel confident they can get that Marsoc win that they've been trying to get all subway.
Cammy and Downpour, I guess. That's what gets a flash.
Yeah, and if we keep trading in Volk rounds, it may, if we don't get a cap here and we finish this off with Resurgence winning the best of 3, we're not playing the third map as we typically do because of the fact it's only a best of 3. This defense needs to sit and really be strong on where we're going to take these kills from. As we say that, we're seeing a super aggressive defense though. Three coming from Resurgence onto the south stairway, but blue
Yeah, we have
is
nothing south.
really exposed. The call out of nothing south is incorrect. Chowie does peek out there and does eliminate blue. This means that they are able to take more ground in the south, while the other two, coming from the western staircase, Downpour is going to rotate back in and crash to get this kind of cut off. Hopefully, play this safe and tuck in.
2 south, possibly 3.
No, he's not.
Oh, a great grenade there from getting Cammy in the back. Down goes Downpour. This is not looking good for SirenSnails. As we come over to the other side, Reed does get picked up. Nazir is around the corner
Remember, did you refrag me?
with not much
Okay, he's
room
over
to
there.
go. Does not get anything to connect on the western alley here, as now we have Hanson in a 1v5. They're gonna have to sacrifice themselves really here, as it is done to prevent the cap. This at least puts Resurgence into 3 compared to 4. But that was a key decision there. Absolutely key decision.
All of a sudden, it was SirenSnails' advantage all map, as they were winning all the Valk rounds. They had Valk advantage. But with that round win from Resurgence, they now have Valk. Plus, if they even lose the Valk round, then an extra round to win this here. If they get one more round win, like you said, it's they make it to the global. It's done. Exactly. No more maps to be played if that happens. So SirenSnails here, they're going to be pretty careful on this offense, I think. As we saw, I think that was SirenSnails' first really aggressive defense, or as we saw, it didn't really pay off. Or I think that was their second really aggressive defense, and Resurgence were able to capitalize off that aggression and off those far off spots. So I think SirenSnails will just be trying to go for picks here, or if they feel like it's pretty out of reach right now, like Resurgence could have done, SirenSnails could go for a heavy cap push. Either way, I do expect to see a lot of smokes on this OBJ to either try to get defenders to run out and get easy picks, or for the cap.
Yeah, this is a very iffy spot for SirenSnails to be in. You don't want to be down around, especially in the fact that you're now on Marsoc with it. This is not a great place for them to try to go for a cap. They have no wiggle room to lose a round. So the pressure's on, and are they going to be able to pull through with it is a question. Are they going to be able to get this Marsoc round to kind of be coordinated enough to push through on both sides, or maybe even 3 sides?
Downpour, don't shoot us.
If you guys are in front of me.
The fact that they're doing a 4-person push with one round's behind, so it's gonna be a 3-2 here. No early frag grenades coming out, but they do get a smoke, and Chowie does get down 1. As Cammy does take Ree out on the opposite side, so 2 really aggressive pushers
44.
from Resurgence.
You got this.
Resurgence are definitely holding the line here, have a lot of people in different spots, but also, as we see near Horseshoe, we got Ramo and Chowie near each other, so if Chowie goes down, I think Ramo push up, try to get that refrag. So on the defense, they're definitely planning some around possible refrags. Frag goes out, but it's above his head. Ramo cheeks out, tries to get the kill, isn't able to. Faded gets a kill on Sex Alley, kind of shuts down that push. It is now 3 SirenSnails members up as they're battling with Chowie and Rambo here near Horseshoe.
Yeah, again, this is a 3v4 scenario, not the best for SirenSnails to be in. Chowie is tucked in with their head peeking out just slightly, but they do have the perfect angle on even just a leg peeking out here. Rambo is covering a little bit deeper in this, so not looking good for Nazir. The rest of the team is kind of held up here as well. Not necessarily the best situation, but at least to have the rear security. So in case somebody does rotate around.
Nazier needs some help from their teammates here as they're all kind of just standing back. I understand they're trying to look for flanks, but at this point, Nazier is trying to get 2 of these defenders by themselves when I feel like there should at least be some utility support here if they have any utilities left to use. As this 1v2 situation with Rambo periodically peeking out and chowing that very good spot is not going to be a favorable odds for Nazier. And even if Nazier does not go down, it will waste time as Rambo does move. They will still be looking for that horseshoe person, assuming they're still there.
Yeah, that was an excellent VN communication from Nazier to at least get somebody to come up here or throw utility. But the smoke does give Chowie the blind they need to be able to get across. The question is, are they going to capitalize? They do indeed. Chowie does go down. That frag grenade earlier was wasted, unfortunately, but it does at least give them the indication that somebody is not here in the top. Another flashbang comes around the corner. Not going to be effective. Rambo's going to push it, though. They get back into the spot they just were in. Down goes Nazier after all this time. Rambo goes down after all this time. This does at least open up the ability for SirenSnails to rotate in through the eastern staircase. As the one does turn all the way back around in the north. Who is that? That is Hansen going all the way around and giving them a little bit of run for the money as to where they're coming from. They have 2 minutes 48 seconds remaining to get this really locked up and coordinated. Shinobi is not paying attention here. They do have their clacker on their chest, so C4 is deployed. Question is, where is that? They do rotate around after hearing this. They are relatively exposed. Hansen is given a quick peek. Oh, the C4 goes out and gets Hansen as they covered the north with it. SirenSnails now in a 2v2 with Downpour coming up here on the staircase. Faded watching this angle.
Well, your question was definitely answered pretty quickly there with that C4 being used. Very smart use of C4 there as Goddess Shinobi was put near the north with that clacker. That way, if they heard any footsteps, instead of just peeking out, they could use a C4, get pretty much a free kill there. As now it's a 2v2. I honestly don't know what to expect here as the defenders are just playing it safe and SirenSnails are trying to figure out what they're going to do here with their remaining 2 members.
He's on the corner
And they
box.
don't have time. They don't have a lot of time to do this. Downpour talking loudly is going to get heard. But the problem here is that both Shinobi and Faded are watching this angle. They don't have much utility left either. They've thrown a smoke, they've thrown a frag grenade, they've thrown a flashbang. Downpour has nothing on his belt. Nazier is going to start rotating around. Is this a little bit too late is the question.
Downpour trying to catch out Goddess Shinobi here, but isn't able to. I think it might be a little bit too late on that rotation as Down decided kind of not to rotate. Downpour putting out more shots. Again, some support from teammates could really work here. But I think Nazier is watching for the flank, thinking Resurgence are going to be aggressive. Maybe they think Resurgence have more members up than they do.
Faded does have a better angle on this than Nazier does, and the fact that they have more coverage and less light back there. Faded pushing up now onto Downpour. Is Downpour going to capitalize? They trade it out. Nazier has 28 seconds remaining. Only Shinobi, a 1v1. Is Shinobi going to clutch this and give the defense the 4th point they need? And no, SirenSnails keeps it in the hand, and they're making this into a defense again. What a way to push and clutch in the last few seconds there. Well done.
Wow. This is crazy. As SirenSnails comes back here and they get their defense advantage. I've been so good. They did trade Marsoc rounds there, though, as momentum has kind of shifted. We are ending off on a crazy action-packed OBJ for the final subway round, North Staircase. We see a lot of smoke pushes, a lot of cap pushes, but that being said, Resurgence definitely do not want to get a cap, or they won't be targeting for a cap unless it's their easiest option to win right now, as one more round and they win it. This is SirenSnails' life and death right now. I mean,
yeah,
if they play it,
like, what are they gonna do? They gotta figure out a non-standard defense here to throw off Resurgence.
They've had quite a few non-standard defenses tonight, SirenSnails. I've seen at least two that I've never seen them use before, and were definitely off meta. So I wonder for this one, if they're going to stick with meta, just get use strategies they know work, or test out experimental strategies that they think could give them the upper hand against Resurgence here. Or I feel like they're probably going to play it safe though, go meta. But SirenSnails have kind of shown otherwise tonight so far. That being said, some of those defenses have worked, some of them haven't. So it's a very tough decision for them to make.
It's a toss-up as to what we're going to ultimately see here. This is the last round of the night. If we get Resurgence win, sorry, last round if Resurgence wins. Resurgence wins the last round, but this is the last round of the map on Subway. 1C4 is out.
Watch out for their nade, they might do it quick.
Good luck.
C4. Heard it. Okay, a little bit farther back, maybe a little bit too much. Their early frags and flashbangs come up and over the wall as usual, but Shinobi and Faded are just going to sit and wait. Question is Blue going to do this? No. They're going to test the waters, and Shinobi's going to take a couple of shots, so they know one is coming in this way. Now Blue takes a second peek and does get hit. We saw that puff of smoke on their shoulder. This is not a great place for them to be in.
Echo 4, he might only be down though.
With the Virtus getting Hansen
On objective.
on uplink. This is a good push to the south on the basement here. Going to put them in a better guarded position as Downpour is now going to be looking that direction.
Interesting strategy from Blue here to keep peeking out on the north. I wonder if that's to try to slow them down, as they aren't really taking shots. And I mean, they were hit once, but rather than that, they aren't really getting fired at too much. I wonder if this is trying to slow down the offense, or what the purpose of those peaks are, as it does leave Blue a little bit vulnerable doing those.
Uh-oh, laser from Reed directly on Downpour as they peek. Down goes Downpour. SirenSnails is getting picked apart a little bit here. And Cammy's got this late angle defense here. Blue is going to have to recognize what's going on, but I don't know if they're actually going to get that here. It's now a 2v4. Shinobi. Uh-oh, a 1v4.
Everyone, we got everybody's dead.
OBJ wide open as Cammy gets that last kill, but I don't think Resurgence are expecting OBJ to be wide open.
Nope, only down. Cammy's pumping out, and Resurgence takes the map because of the fact that everybody was so concerned about slowing them down. I don't think they kept the tablet awareness as to what was going on, or a little bit of a peek and then come back to get the intel and then let them come to SirenSnails. That was not what I was expecting.
That was crazy for sure. Definitely not what I was expecting, especially on the match point. You would think there might be a little bit more tablet awareness. But that being said, in the heat of the moment, it is very easy to judge these players from a casting view.
Yeah.
In the heat of the moment, in an intense match like this, it is very easy to make those small mistakes. And with these master teams, which these two teams were the top two in NA this year. So really what it comes down to is the small mistakes that determines who wins. And as we saw in that last round, SirenSnails made quite a few small mistakes that added up into, unfortunately for them, losing the round. But on a positive note, Resurgence does get that redemption win off the regular season. SirenSnails were one of the only teams that were able to beat them during the regular season. Now they win here, moving on to the global qualifiers for Resurgence.
And it's a good point that you just made there. Like, the fact this is their redemptive rounds, or redemptive map, and the fact that SirenSnails is the only team to beat them. This was a good battle overall, but it meant something more to the players. And the fact that SirenSnails knew they could beat them here, and they needed to do it again. and they figured out a little bit of their techniques as to how to counter the resurgence side on Marsoc. The question is this going to play out during the next season? We don't know that yet because 14 still hasn't been planned, but this is something we should keep an eye on for next season, especially as the team is going to shift up in the off season, maybe drop a player, maybe get a new one, maybe do some name changes as we were talking earlier. This is something you want to keep an eye on for future matches, because this is always going to be a good matchup here. So this is supposed to be the wrap up for the night. I think the teams are discussing things and giving some final points to each other there. But Resurgence does officially win and go into the global finals. Those are taking place this weekend on Saturday, the 22nd. So with that, we're gonna sign off. It's been an hour-and-a-half match. Not too long, not too short, but a good one, and a good timing overall. Park, do you have any final notes for the teams as we saw this? And they're obviously going to be reviewing this later on.
Yeah, so for SirenSnails, obviously very disappointing loss for their team. That being said, they had a huge leap in rankings this season, so they must still be happy to a certain extent. Obviously, especially knowing SirenSnails' ambitions to be a top 2 NA team, you definitely want to win the entire thing. So unfortunately, they're knocked out just a little bit earlier here than they probably would have liked to get knocked out. But still a very successful season for them, and they're pretty new as a team too. I mean, once they get some things figured out, like maybe a little bit more coordination on Valk, maybe a little bit more tablet awareness, decision-making skills, like making decisions a little bit quicker, I think that those just small little things, those small little improvements can really help, as that's what we saw tonight. But obviously they're under immense pressure. Resurgence, I mean, this was a completely different team than we saw play against SirenSnails in the regular season, as, I mean, they were just able to bring it back here and really impress. As they are #1 worldwide, #1 in NA, they might be one of the favorites now that they're in the global qualifiers to possibly win the entire championship. So they're definitely going to be one of the overdogs entering in the championship, as they had an almost undefeated season. So it'll be very interesting to see how they do in the global qualifiers, especially facing those EU and Oceania teams that they have not faced all season.
Sorry, just discussing a couple of things with the teams here overall. We are not going to be going to the third map as they are asking about. So, that said, thank you for watching. Thanks for stopping by if you're new. And thank you for all your support with this. 55 viewers wrapping up here in the cast. With that, thanks for the sponsors as well. Have a good night.